So let's look at the different grades that are on offer. In terms of the non-chartered grades, we have student and affiliate. We also have practitioner. So the student and affiliate effectively are two routes into practitioner. Practitioner is the next step up. After practitioner, we move into the chartered grades. The first of those being member, and the second being fellow. So those are the grades that are available to people. And running throughout that, we have increasing professional competence. Okay? These grades are effectively cumulative. Each one builds on the requirements of the previous grade. In terms of post-nominals, student and affiliate don't carry any post-nominals. Practitioner does, PCQI, member does, CQP, MCQI, and fellow does, CQP, FCQI. So let's look at the student grade. Okay. This grade is for people who are studying a qualification with CQI. A lot of people every year do study our qualifications. In terms of post-nominals, there are none. CPD is not mandatory for this grade, but it is encouraged. In fact, CPD is encouraged for all of our grades. Annual fee, £50. The grade is active, so people can sign up to that grade now. And the application process is, if people are interested in becoming a student member, contact the Education Centre and they'll provide you with the application form. All nice and straightforward. In terms of affiliate, okay? Affiliate is very similar to associate. The associate grade didn't actually require qualifications or experience. There are no assessed requirements at the affiliate grade either. It's just for people who are interested in being associated with ourselves, affiliated to ourselves. So anybody can apply. You don't need previous experience in quality. No post-nominals. CPD isn't mandatory, but we encourage it. And there is an application process which involves filling in an affiliate application form and sending us the relevant payment. The grade is active now. But where we would like to see people moving to, certainly in the previous associates, is practitioner grade. Okay. For me, this is the first of the heavyweight grades. And it's a grade that is for people who are actively practicing quality. So quality is part of your job role. Or you specialise in a specific aspect of quality. So you could be auditing or you could be an inspector. If you fall into that category, then practitioner grade is the grade that is suitable for you. We need 2 years or more work experience in any aspect of quality, and successful completion of a quality-related qualification or a training programme of greater than 30 hours of study on an area that's covered by the competency framework. So it needs to be centred on either governance or assurance or improvement, perhaps on leadership or around context. In terms of post-nominals, you do get post-nominals with practitioner. CPD is not mandatory for practitioners, but I'd strongly recommend it. The grade is active. And in terms of the application process, we ask you to provide a completed practitioner application form, your CV, a fee payment, plus evidence of the successful completion of your qualification. It's actually a really straightforward process. And as I say, if you're currently at an associate grade, I would hope that you would consider moving to practitioner. And then we get into the chartered grades, and these are the more senior grades. So, Chartered Quality Professional, this demonstrates that you've reached a high level of knowledge, skills, and experience. That you are adopting the right values and the behaviours. You know, we talked about the need to be professional and ethical earlier on. And it looks for evidence of these across 5 areas, all 5 areas of the competency framework. You need to convince us that you are competent to level 3 in leadership, and I'll explain what these are in a second. That you are competent to level 3 in context, and that for governance, assurance or improvement, you have a competency level of a 3, a 2 and a 2. So what does this mean? Well, these are the levels. These are the levels that are associated with each grade. They run from 0 to 4. 0 is effectively no skills or experience, no knowledge. So it's very much at the base level. Running up to 4, experts. Okay, been there, done it, can do anything. And what we're saying is, for it to be a CQI Chartered Quality Practitioner member, you need to have secured level 3 in leadership, level 3 in context, and then this mix across governance, assurance and improvement. So, they're the 5 areas. 2 level 3s. That would be acceptable to us if we looked at your application and scored you as a 3 in governance, a 2 in insurance, a 2 in improvement. You will get the member grade. Similarly, you would get the member grade if you scored 2 in governance, 3 in assurance, and 2 in improvement, or if you scored a 2, 2 and a 3. Can you see how the system works? So what we would do is we'd take your initial application and we would assess it. This is what we've assessed that particular individual as, the yellow boxes. And what you can see from this is that they're fine in governance, they're fine in assurance, they're fine in improvement, but they are deficient in terms of leadership and context. They're at level 2, they're not at level 3. So what we need to do is to move them up from the 2s to the 3s. And this is where our learning and development portfolio comes in. Our learning and development products are designed to actually transfer you across these grade boundaries. Okay. So, Chartered Quality Professional, this is an important point. It accommodates both generalists and specialists. What do I mean by specialists? Auditors, potentially. So if you are an IRCA auditor, there is now the ability to move to chartered status, okay, recognising that skill at the highest of levels. The application process is a 2-stage one. First of all, we carry out a desktop review. So we'll have a look at your application form. Those application forms are actually live, the new style ones, so we're doing that now. We will be introducing the second level, the interviews, in June 2016. Okay. So it's not just a case of looking at what people tell us on a piece of paper anymore. There is going to be an interview process which actually sits behind this. And again, for those members of other institutes, you might be familiar with this. Certainly with my other institutes, there was a peer interview that I needed to go through to be admitted. And that is essentially the process that we will be adopting. It will be a peer interview. The thing about the chartered grades, so chartered member, chartered fellow, CPD is a mandatory requirement. You will have to do CPD to maintain that chartered status. Okay, so let's look at member. Who is suitable in terms of member grade? It's really for those people whose core discipline is quality. That's your day job. And it recognises your professional competence and gives you chartered status. In terms of entry requirements, the ability to execute activities in all 5 areas of competency: governance, assurance, improvement, leadership and context. The ability to work and supervised in one or more of those areas. You do get post-nominals. CPD is mandatory. The grade is active. Now you can apply for the grade. And the application process is as detailed there. Second level of entry requirements, you must be demonstrating leadership behaviours, and we will look for evidence of that, and an ability to adapt your activities to the context of your business. So when you get to chartered member, we're looking for evidence of leadership, clear evidence of leadership, and clear evidence of understanding the context in which your business operates. And thirdly, we're looking for a degree level or equivalent knowledge of quality management principles, methods, and tools. So we want to make sure that you can analyse, evaluate, adapt and apply your knowledge in most situations. Okay? So actually it's quite a thorough grilling that you're going to be getting at Chartered going forwards. And then there's Fellow. Fellow is very much the flagship grade. And it's awarded to those who have made an outstanding contribution to quality. There's no direct route. You can't just decide you want to become a Fellow. You have to have served your time as a member for at least 2 years before you can be nominated to go for the Fellow grade. Post nominals, of course. CPD is mandatory, of course. The grade or the new grade is not active yet. Okay, we're still doing work around the fineries of the interview process for that. It will, however, involve a portfolio submission, demonstrating how you meet the criteria. We do want references from 2 people who know you, who can vouch firsthand for your skills, your abilities and your competence. We want your CV. We need to look at your CPD record, and you will be subjected to a panel interview. So Fellow is quite grilling. Okay. So those are the grades. In terms of which grade is most suitable for you, there's a tool on our website which you might like to have a go at. It's called Take the Grades Quiz. That's the link to it. And if you put in answer a few questions in there, it'll come up with an answer and suggest the most appropriate grade for you based on the responses that you've given. So what are the benefits of actually being a member of the CQI? Well, first of all, we offer you a career progression pathway. We've looked at these grades, started off as a student, going all the way through affiliate, practitioner, member, Fellow. So there's a career progression pathway through the grades. As I said before, each of the grades builds on the competencies of the previous grade. It's a structured framework within which you can develop your competency. We've got those 5 areas, we've got the different levels. We make sure that you're kept up to date by mandating CPD. And we objectively assess your competence. Okay, we've got models, criteria against which we look at you. We look at you periodically. We look at you when you apply for each of these grades. And that is done by your peers or by an expert panel in the Fellow grade example. So there are people there who are objectively assessing your competence, your abilities, and we award you a grade based on those. And we cover the whole quality profession. As I said before, the grades are designed to apply not just to generalists, quality directors, quality managers, but also the specialists. So if you're an auditor or perhaps Six Sigma, the way is open to you too. It's a wide, embracing church. Membership reflects the reality of a modern quality professional. We're up to date. We're up to date in our thinking. We are acknowledged as thought leaders in terms of what we do. It enhances your reputation. It opens up access to technical resources. Okay, we've got a wide range of resources available on our website. A lot of those available only to members. They are there for you. Opportunities for networking, certainly through the branch structure. Lots of chances to get together, meet like-minded individuals and talk through the sort of issues you're facing and perhaps share ideas on how those could be resolved. And it gives you a voice in the profession. And that voice is a strong voice. In terms of the CQI, it holds what is known as Category A liaison status in respect of certain ISO standards. What that means is that the ISO people, the people who are actually writing these standards that we all work by, consider your views and your opinions worth listening to. Okay. Certainly that was the case with 9001. In fact, we actually, as an organisation, CQI, submitted more comments than many countries did in terms of the development of that standard. So we are heard at the top table. You have a voice. You can affect change in these things. Quality World magazine, a good publication. You receive monthly knowledge and members updates, access to technical reports. Has anybody taken advantage of the 9001, 14001 reports? that we've produced. Yeah, that's fine. 45,001 will be on its way soon, health and safety one. And again, if you remember, that will be free of charge. Access to events, conferences and seminars. We run conferences, both domestically, overseas as well. Regular seminars, roadshows. 20% discount on training courses. And because we're a charity, no VAT in terms of membership fees, and you can actually claim those back for tax purposes. Okay. Just want to say a few words about continuing professional development. So what does this mean for us as quality professionals? Well, pretty much what it says. Continuing. This is an activity which is ongoing, it's evolving, it's current, doesn't end. Professional, it relates to what we do. It's development, so it leads to our growth, expansion, enlargement, our improvement. CPD. So CPD is the ongoing improvement of us as quality professionals. And as I say, it's mandatory for members and for fellows. So what does it involve? It involves keeping your skills, your knowledge, your understanding contemporary, up to date, making sure it's relevant to your career. It's about improving and developing that knowledge. So it's not standing still. It's learning new stuff, how to do new stuff, understanding new stuff. And it's about demonstrating and developing personal qualities as well as your technical capabilities. And this comes through really, really strongly from employers. There are a lot of people who are technically really sound. They know their stuff inside out. But unless you've got the right personal qualities, that's a problem. Okay, can be a problem for you. So what employers are looking for are people with a great mix of technical skills, but also the interpersonal side as well. So it's about recognising you've more to learn and checking what you know on a regular basis. We all undertake CPD, but what we're asking you to do here is to actually record it. Okay. And this will give you a structured approach. The structured approach we're recommending to you involves planning your CPD, then actually doing some stuff, and then reflecting on what you've done to see whether or not that actually delivered what you were intending it to deliver. Here's a question for you. So, do we have any IRCA members in the audience? Okay, good. IRCA, members of IRCA, auditors. Okay, thank you. Okay. This will be familiar to you. Okay, current situation, if you're an IRCA principal auditor, lead auditor, or an auditor, you need to do at least 15 hours CPD a year, of which 9 must be structured CPD. By structured CPD, we mean sort of attendance at conferences, at training courses. It's highly interactive stuff. If you're a member of the Chartered Quality Institute, what do you need to do at the moment in terms of CPD? Absolutely nothing. Current situation, nothing. We need to address this. Okay, that's not right. CPD does matter. But it's not just us that say CPD matters. I just want to play a very brief video. And this is the views of some individuals that we actually work with.
Continuing professional development is a way for me to grow, evolve.
CPD to me means you've got to become a lot more diverse and be willing to learn a lot more cross-functionally.
I think it's an obligation if you consider yourself a quality professional, and that means if you're a CQI member and you use the initials, that you continue with your development.
For me, if you're not practicing CPD, then you've got far less chance of success than if you are.
We discuss the trust objectives and strategy for the year, and we discuss how these align with our team objectives. This is good because this allows us to know our unique standing point within the team.
I plan and set my objectives by using process mapping.
Look at what I want to do, my vision as an individual, and that would mean setting up my own plan, and something like A3 thinking or something like that would fall into my mind, just understanding current conditions, the ideal condition of where I want to get to, and then what is the gap, how do I actually proceed.
Well, now I'm retired, it's more about sharing my experience that I've gained over many years. And I can do that in a number of ways. I try and contribute articles to the Quality World and maybe review books.
I really try to keep my goals really small. So if I have 2 core things I need to do today that's going to help me reach my objective for the month, then that's the 2 core things I do.
The biggest challenges I found on my journey as CPD was really around time commitment. A lot of that is related to family time. The trick that I've done, the solutions really to it really has been to integrate my CPD with what's good for the business or good for my employer.
I think there's a potential for retirees to mentor up-and-coming quality engineers and help them avoid some of the mistakes they've made throughout their working lives.
On a long-term perspective, it supported me professionally in developing my skills to help with my career aspirations going forward, and as well as mentoring and coaching others to do the same.
Things change, economies change, you have to sometimes switch job functions, move to other businesses. By having a very good CPD plan, that allows you to be cross-functional, concentrating on the key activities and the foundations of what companies and businesses would require.
You know, it's not just about acquiring and having it piled up, have books and whatever, but it's about continuously applying, continuously improving, continuously assessing yourself, continuously evaluating what you're doing, checking yourself, checking your goals, checking your objective, reassessing it, rearranging it, deleting some that you've done or some you don't need again, and now improving.
You don't vegetate. It's all too easy when you're retired to say, oh, that's it, and to forget all about all that knowledge and experience you've gained. But to me, that's the time when you can give it back.
Be creative in what you do. Don't just follow the conventional, do informal training. Do other options and other methods such as shadowing, mentoring, networking and attending seminars with related topics.
So you don't just think, okay, I've now, chartered or I've done quality management diploma or masters. It doesn't stop there, because you being that, do you understand the medical industry? Do you understand the engineering sector? Do you understand, you have to go deeper to understand, to be the best quality professional in that company, that you could be.
So let's just look at what we are going to require you to do going forwards. Well, we believe there are 3 steps in terms of sorting out your CPD. First one is to identify your learning and development objectives. You should be doing that on a rolling basis. Second stage is to plan, do, check out, so we got a bit of Deming in there, activities to support the realisation of your objectives. And third stage, to assess the extent to which your objectives have been achieved. So identify objectives. What do I need to do to help develop my career, to get me to where I want to be? And then look at the activities, the individual work items that you need to undertake to get you there. And once you've done those work items, look back and see whether or not they've got you to where you need to be. So, a bit more detail. Has anybody seen the CQI CPD record sheet that we've introduced? Okay. Thank you. Okay. So, it looks a bit like this. Okay. So I'm just going to go for some headings. Okay. CPD plan. So the first thing that we ask you to do is to think about these learning and development objectives. These are the headline items. So in this case, the individual has decided they want to develop competencies in Microsoft Excel to a level where they're able to develop spreadsheets to manage the stock levels of products. Okay, that's what they're trying to set out to do. And they've gone through and populated another objective here. Attend a Microsoft Excel basic training course. Develop drafts of spreadsheets. Okay, so there's a whole raft of activities that they've identified that they need to undertake in order to be able to achieve that objective. When you're looking at objectives, think about your long-term career goals. Where do you want to be? Look at the skills and knowledge that you currently possess and identify any areas for development. So if you remember the video, the gentleman talked about a gap analysis. This is a gap analysis on yourself. And then start to articulate your objectives, formulate them, and record your objectives on the CQI CPD record sheet. So the starting point is all about identifying objectives. That gives you the destination. You now need to think about how you're going to get there. First of all, you need to plan your activities. So you use the activity log section of the CQI CPD record sheet to record the activities that you decide are stepping stones to achieving your objectives. Let's just take, as an example, perhaps the objective to become more IT literate. Okay? So record that as your objective. And then you write down all the activities that you're going to undertake to help you get to the point where you are more IT literate. And that could be doing some work, studying. You could go to do a college course. Or you could talk to your daughter and they could tell you all about social media. Or you could read a book. All sorts of different activities. And these are the stepping stones. And for each of those stepping stones, record what you expect to gain from undertaking that activity. So from reading the book, what do you expect to get out of reading the book? From talking to the daughter or from going on the course, what do you expect to gain from undertaking each of those? Then do the activities. Okay? Undertake the activities that you have identified. And once you've done that, check back. Once each activity has been completed, just take time to reflect. Did that work out how I expected it to work out? Did that deliver what I thought it was going to deliver? Has that set me along this incremental path to achieving my objective? Think about how the activity developed you. What did you learn from it? And then act. Did what you actually learned meet what you expected to learn? If it didn't, then what we suggest you need to do is to identify some new activities, because the activities that you've identified haven't got you to where you wanted to be. But if they did, if the activities gave you the outcomes you expected the activities to give you, then go on to the third stage. Assess if the objectives have been achieved. So this is the reflection bit. Okay. Now I've been through undertaking all of these activities, have they got me to where I wanted to be when I started this process? And if the answer is yes, close that objective off on your activity, on your CPD record sheet, and ask yourself, what is my next objective? And if those activities haven't got you where you wanted to be, then you need to do further work. You need to identify more activities in order that you can finally achieve that particular objective. Some tips in terms of CPD. Don't leave it till the end of the year to try to populate your CPD record form. It's very difficult to remember what you did often a month ago, let alone a year ago. So what we would encourage you to do is to try and schedule in reviews of CPD on a fairly regular basis, just so that you're keeping your CPD record up to date. And we would suggest that you take time to plan and to reflect. Don't rush those activities. As I said, what you should be doing is you should be looking at where you are now and where you want to be, and thinking about what you need to do to get you from your current departure point to your destination. And when you think you've reached the destination, think about it. Are you really there? Have you achieved that objective, or do you need to do more? So set time aside for both the planning at the start of the process and for reflecting at the end of the process. Why should you do this? Well, first of all, it builds your confidence and your credibility. And you can start to see your career progression. You've got logical steps. You know where you want to be. You've got a pathway. You've got these stepping stones. And the ability to manage your own professional growth is seen as a key strength by employers. So employers will look at you and see, yeah, this person knows where they want to be. They know where they are. And they've got a plan from getting from where they are to where they need to be. If you've got a plan, you can cope more positively with change. If you've got a wider skill set, you can cope more readily with change. And you're more productive and you're more efficient because what you will do is you'll find yourself focusing on the things that really matter to you. You won't be doing courses that don't fit, don't work, don't help you get to that final objective. And there are benefits to the organisation. It's not just benefits to you, but to your organisation as well. It helps your employer set smart objectives, so objectives that work not just for the organisation, but work for you as well. And because you're doing this, well, this is great from their perspective because they're seeing their staff being developed. It's an additional mechanism that's available to them for developing you. And this reflection bit, this reflection discipline, it helps you to learn more from your day job. Once you get into that mindset of thinking, well, how did that go? Could that have gone better? Should I have done something differently? You'll find yourself applying that to your day-to-day activities, not just to your CPD activities. So it changes your mindset. And if you've thought about where you want to be and how you want to get there, it's going to help facilitate the organisation's appraisal process. Okay. So where are we going with CPD at the CQI? Well, we're going to harmonise the IRCA and CQI CPD approaches, so it'll be one uniform system. We're not going to have this division on the auditor side versus the generalist side. We are going to base the CPD requirements around the competency framework. So there'll be requirements around governance and requirements around context and assurance and improvement and leadership. And what we're going to do is we're going to try and make this a little bit easier for you by investigating some online tools where you can log your CPD rather than having to fill in that CPD record form. So we want to make this as easy and as painless as possible for you. Now, in terms of some questions that were coming through from the other roadshows, first one was, I'm an existing practitioner or a chartered member or a chartered fellow. How do I transfer to the corresponding new grade? Well, the short answer to that is you'll be grandfathered. It happens automatically. So if you're actually going from older look practitioner to new look practitioner, it'll happen automatically. There's nothing you need to do. It's when you're transferring between grades that there's work. Can IRCA members now apply for chartered status? The answer to that is yes. I'm a member in CQI and IRCA. Will I get a reduced overall fee? It's where we want to be. We think the answer to that should be yes. Where can I go for additional information regarding the grade changes? Membership team, back at base. Is CQI CPD classified as structured or unstructured as IRCA's is? No, we're trying to get away from this concept. Okay? And what you'll find with our approach to CPD is it's actually quite free flow. It isn't structured, it's deliberately so. We want you to have the freedom to decide yourselves what you need to do to improve. We don't want to be overly prescriptive in saying you have to do X and Y and Z. We think that you can make those decisions yourself. Are we going to check everyone's CPD records? 20,000 members? No. But we will be sampling them. Okay. Same approach that's taken by my other institutes, They advise you that CPD could be requested at any point, and we will adopt the same approach. So it will be a sampling exercise. Remember, CPD required for members and for fellows. Those are the only two grades at present. Why do retired members and fellows have to continue to undertake CPD? That's all to do with the chartered status. It's a requirement of the charter. And is there a set minimum number of hours for CPD I must complete each year? There is with IRCA at the moment, but the answer to that going forwards will be no. We're not setting a certain number of hours. Again, it's down to you to decide what you need to do, what's appropriate in your case. If your conclusion is 0, when we come to sample you, we'll probably be asking some questions. Okay? But we want you to take responsibility for yourselves. That's the approach that's been taken here.